Hi, this is Alessio. I hope you're well. In this video, we're going to talk about one of the most important indicators for analyzing the markets. It could be anything. It could be Bitcoin, stock markets, gold, whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm going to mention one of the most reliable, probably one of the most important indicators and signals that you should watch out for. All right, guys, join me. All right, guys, welcome back. Now, in this video, before we talk about the charts and this important indicator, I'm gonna actually take you into one of my favorite places in the US, which is, what is it, Morris?
Dunkin' Donuts.
Dunkin' Donuts. Join me with Morris, and let's go inside and have a donuts and talk about the charts and the markets. As you can see here, by the way, in case you don't know, if you haven't seen my previous video, I am actually in Florida in the US, and came here about a few days ago. I'm actually in the Palm Coast of Florida right now. So let's go inside Dunkin' Donuts. So you want a cup of coffee, right?
Cup of coffee and a cake donut.
Okay, cake donut, cup of coffee coming up. So in this video, I want to talk to you briefly about what I consider to be one of the most reliable and most powerful contrarian signals out there. Now, what am I talking about? And here's something I should tell you first. This is not a chart indicator, all right? So it's not like MACD, RSI, moving averages, it's nothing like that. But I do consider it to be a very important contrarian signal and indeed an important indicator. So let me begin by giving you an example so I can explain to you what this indicator actually is. About a year ago, back in 2020, I remember in March of 2020, as you may recall, that's when the stock markets essentially crashed. Actually, it wasn't just stock markets, Bitcoin also dropped as well. So stock markets crashed by about 34%. And you may remember, just about the time when the stock markets bottomed out, just near the time when the markets bottomed, I was saying, look, I'm bullish on the stock markets. I said that this is actually a once in a generation, once in a lifetime opportunity, in fact, to get long and get bullish on the stock markets. And at that point, I can tell you guys, there were a lot of people on social media, like for example on YouTube, who were saying to me I was crazy. They were saying, Alessio doesn't know what he's talking about, he's insane, he's crazy. What's he talking about? He's saying the markets are gonna bottom and they're gonna go back up. I mean, the economy was in bad shape. We had massive unemployment numbers, and that was at the beginning of the pandemic, the beginning of the COVID crisis. So I remember at that time when I was saying I was bullish on the market, you know, when the markets had dropped by about 34%, and I was saying, look, we're gonna go back up again, people were saying, no, that's rubbish. There were so many trolls online that essentially were ridiculing me and just making fun of me, saying, this guy is crazy, what's he talking about? But here's the thing, I learned something from that. And I've learned that whenever analysts, now whether the analyst is me or someone else, doesn't matter, but whenever an analyst has a contrarian view or perspective, whenever an analyst is saying something which is so contrary and so different from the majority point of view, because the majority point of view at the time was very bearish. Everyone, almost everybody, they're expecting bigger drops in the stock market. But the thing is, I found out that my view was being ridiculed. Okay, so when I said I'm bullish on the market, I found that the majority of people were saying, no, I'm crazy, I don't know what I'm talking about. So guys, my point is, one lesson I've learned is that whenever an analyst gets ridiculed about his point of view, so if he or she has a contrarian point of view that is different from the majority point of view, and that person is getting ridiculed and mocked in social media, for example, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, pay attention, because that could be a very important signal. And I'll give you another example. About the same time last year, I think it was March, April of 2020, I made a video where I said I was bullish on oil prices. I said that likely oil prices had bottomed out. And by the way, this was very near the time when oil prices became negative. You may remember in 2020, I think it was April or March 2020, oil prices went into the negative. And at that time, I said I was bullish on oil prices. And I remember the amount of ridicule and mocking I got online. I remember there were comments from people saying, you see this guy, he's crazy. He thinks oil prices are gonna go back up with the economy being in such bad shape. But here's the thing, guys, as I've said many times, there is no correlation between the economy and market prices, whether it's oil prices or the stock market prices. There's actually a lag between the two. Often price moves ahead of the economy. So as I'm sure you know, I was actually correct to be bullish on oil prices. It actually bottomed right there, and it went up severely higher, as you can see there. Now let me give you another example, but in reverse. So you may recall back in April of this year, I was saying very likely we could see a pullback, a drop in the price of Bitcoin. Now this was at the time when Bitcoin had reached just over $50,000, $60,000 level. I think Bitcoin was reaching 60,000. And when I said I was expecting a pullback in the price of Bitcoin, as a matter of fact, I thought it was quite likely that Bitcoin could overshoot to 30K at the time. Here's the thing, I remember I was getting absolutely ridiculed and mocked online. People are saying, you see this guy, he's so crazy. He thinks Bitcoin is going to drop at 30 to 50%. I mean, that's ridiculous. This guy is mad. Soon afterwards, the price of Bitcoin began to reverse and then dropped from about 60K to almost 30K. But here's the thing. I'm actually making a very important point in this video, which is worth paying attention to, which is that I found that usually when social media opinion, and again, this is the opinion of the herd, when herd mentality, when the majority point of view becomes so absolutely confident that they're absolutely right, that price can only move in one direction. There's a famous investor by the name of Jim Rogers. He once said,
what I've learned in life is, normally when everybody's thinking the same way, you should start at least thinking, hey, wait a minute, it cannot be right if everybody's thinking the same way. And it nearly always is that when everybody's thinking the same way, somebody's not thinking, and you should at least examine the other side.
And I think it's a very important point. So I found a very reliable indicator for the markets is actually, again, this is not a chart indicator, but this is actually pay attention to what people are saying, again, on social media. And specifically, pay attention when an analyst, and it doesn't matter if it's me or somebody else, but when an analyst is offering an opinion or a view which is contrary to the majority opinion. So if the majority are heavily bullish, and if the analyst says, actually, you know what, we should be careful here because the market could see a pullback or indeed a drop in price. And when that analyst gets ridiculed or mocked, pay very close attention. It's a very powerful sign. I found actually almost every single time when I get ridiculed online, that usually is a good sign. It's a good sign that, you know what, people are becoming way too confident, and that's never a good sign when everybody becomes too confident about the direction of the price. And guys, listen, I'm going to make a prediction. You might have seen my previous video about the potential bear market, not now, not immediately, but potentially in the next 12 to 18 months. So if you haven't seen that, go ahead and watch it. But in my previous video, you may remember I said very likely in the next 12 to 18 months, we could begin a potential bear market. So here's my prediction. My prediction is that I think sometime in the next 12 to 18 months, I'm probably going to make a video and I'm going to say, we are very likely to make a top in the stock markets and then reverse into a bear market. And I guarantee you, I can almost tell you this much. When I make that video sometime in the next 12 to 18 months, I'm pretty sure there'll be a lot of trolls online saying, Alessio doesn't know what he's talking about, it's crazy, he's lost his mind, he thinks we're gonna go into a bear market. So I'm pretty sure that sometime in the next 12 to 18 months, when I make that video, I'm gonna get absolutely ridiculed and mocked online. And when that happens, then I think it becomes a very reliable signal. By the way, one last thing before I finish this video. I'm not saying just because an analyst is getting ridiculed online that the market will reverse immediately and go in the opposite direction. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, when you see an analyst getting ridiculed and mocked for his contrarian opinion or view, pay attention to the charts. Don't forget the charts. Have a look at the charts and look for any setups, any potential chart setups or indications, any kind of patterns that support that view. Of course, be careful. You don't want to fall into confirmation bias. Do look for any kind of signals or patterns that don't support that view as well. But what I'm saying is, wait for the chart to confirm. Wait for the charts to confirm that contrarian point of view. All right, guys, hope this video helps. And I wish you a very fantastic holiday and Christmas from Florida in the United States. Thanks very much indeed. Bye for now.